living, they get income, but the vendors on the streets, our gogos and mothers and sisters selling by the streets are not able to go on with their lives as usual. The taxi guys are not able to sustain their, in fact, there's no business to speak of because they've been literally banned. It's only Zuko that can operate, and it's a worry to us. We understand that it is important that we combat the spread of COVID-19, but that burden, it must be shared almost fairly and equal. But we are disappointed. As I come to the end of my opening remarks, I need to also say we also are disappointed by this new phenomena, the new phenomena of using women for selfish political ends. So you will see that women are almost sent in the front line, not for activities or activism that benefits the country as a whole, but activism that benefits just narrow selfish interest either of an individual or of a political party. We are very, very worried about that. And we wish that even as our courts are looking at these matters, and now I'm speaking of the three ladies that are languishing in prison right now, and I do not have the facts, we do not have the facts why they were denied bail, but in our constitution everyone is presumed innocent until proven otherwise by a competent court of law. So we will appeal to the authorities. We have seen them give bail to their male counterparts, Honorable PT and others. They were given bail. And I'm not sure how much of a threat this lady proposes, but if it turns out that they are innocent of the crimes that they are accused of, you would have taken as an innocent Zimbabwean and treated them like a common criminal. So we are really appealing to authorities to take note that most of these young ladies are impressionable and they are taken advantage of. So if we punish them or if we are heavy-handed on them, we are not dealing with the problem. And so we condemn in the strongest possible ways the use and abuse of women for political and selfish, narrow political ends. Mama Chagada, do you have a word to say?
Yeah, thank you, Brother Puken. Thank you very much for those remarks. Good afternoon, press, media. I think what I want to highlight is that in the midst of all these developments, we must never lose sight of the ball. And the ball is about the economy. The economy is in the wrong hands. The ZANU-PF leadership is clueless and they cannot manage the economy. One of the areas which they continue to mishandle is the exchange rate and, of course, the issue of the currency, among other host of economic issues or factors. You may recall that yesterday they held their first auction, foreign exchange auction. And I've got a lot of issues which I want to highlight regarding the problems, the underlying problems associated with the foreign currency auction. The highest bidder was 100 million, as we already all know. The lowest bidder was 25 million, as we already know. And the weighted average is now 57,000, which is now setting the new exchange rate for this coming week until Tuesday. Now, what is the problem with the foreign exchange auction system? first thing is that it's an admission that the country cannot produce enough foreign currency. The economy is not performing. The productive sectors are weak, and there's no economic stimulus to stimulate exports and foreign currency earnings. It is also an admission that the capital account or the balance of payments is not performing. Therefore, there are no new foreign currency inflows that are coming into the country. But what has that done? It has created more arbitrage. The foreign exchange rate, the official exchange rate has now risen from 25 to 57. This will just push the parallel market rate to higher rates, and this will weaken the Zimbabwean dollar further. So we are going in a vicious cycle. The other challenge is that you cannot rule out insider information in the conduct of the auction. Obviously, the foreign currency auction system has created an oligarchy or a cabal in the foreign currency sector, where a few people have got inside knowledge and inside information on how the system operates. The rest of the people who need foreign currency, those who want to import drugs, those who want to pay school fees for their children, those who want to import food, they are not privy to inside information happening in the foreign currency market. So it is now a system driven by a few oligarchies or monopolists, so to speak, when the rest of the market is not privy to the participation in that foreign exchange market. So what's happening is that this is going to stoke inflation, this is going to stoke higher parallel market rates, and it's going to put further pressure on the Zim dollar. We are tinkering with a bigger structural problem in this country, and the only way is to go back to the real fundamentals. Let us restore confidence in the economy, let us boost production, let us address the issue of the currency. I have said for the umpteenth time that at this stage you need a currency that angers the economy, that brings macroeconomic stability. And I will always insist that for now, let us migrate to the United States dollar to anger macroeconomic stability and make sure that it's a store of value and it's a reliable medium of exchange. The misalignment between the formal exchange rate and the parallel exchange rate has to be arrested. And the only way to arrest it is to introduce a stable currency or a medium exchange, and in this regard, it is the United States dollar. The foreign currency auction system will not work because it's an elitist approach which excludes a lot of participants in the foreign currency sector. So I just thought I should make those comments on this recent foreign exchange auction system. And we witness the impact on hyperinflation. We also witness the impact on the parallel market rate. Thank you very much on that note. The other issue, Honorable, again, is that the Gata media has tried to paint me, saying that there are no abductions in this country, and so on and so forth. All those were lies, trying to soil my image and my credibility and my reputation. I still maintain that ZANU-PF and the government are or stand accused of these adoptions, and they must cease forthwith the practice of abducting people at night, whether in the daylight or in the morning. They must stop torture, they must stop human rights abuses, and we stand by our statement that those abductions have to be investigated, and that those people are correct to say they've been abducted until proven otherwise. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Honorable Machagada. We are now ready to entertain your questions. Today I happen to be the MC and the keynote speaker. Is that going to be? Should I be worried? Okay. So I'll start with daily news because I can see you're burning inside. Then I'll come with you, Mhlanga. They say, oh, there is a female. I think it's the first time. Yes, yeah. And then I'm going to come to you, my sister, and then you, my brother. Then the fifth. You're the fifth one, right? I'll take you on the second round. Yeah. So we start with you. Daily news.
Okay. Maybe just in relation to the allegations you make. It's unfortunate that you've chosen to become a politician and be journalist at the same time, where you want to describe to us how we must style our stories. I thought you were going to complain that the story was factually wrong. Yet you have just confirmed postponement now. Then my question is, last time we were here, we were invited to come and attend the caucus of parliamentarians. I just wanted to find out how many MPs did come to today's caucus, and if we may have their names, if you don't mind.
All right, that's you, Mhlanga, now.
Yes. You say in your statement that there is abuse of women for certain political end. Are you not lowering the value of women yourself by thinking that women are being used, that they do not have common sense of their own to actually take up and take that action that they did? That men are the only people who have a mind to ensure that they protest against things that they are not happy about. But when women do so, as a party, you say they are being abused. And when you then made the examples, you then said, Honorable Beach, I think, was given bail. You excluded a person accused of 60 of tenders that go to 60 million in terms of fraud, corruption, the Minister of Health, who actually drove himself to court, was not even detained. Is your business as the opposition to oppose a faction of your party and not to oppose the real issues that are confronting the country? I want you to be clear here, because you appear to be saying that there is favoritism to the opposition of the MDC Alliance and give the beauty girl. You ignore the Minister of Health. And also then say women do not think for themselves, that the actions that they are doing, they are being used in professional.
Question number 3.
Thank you.
Which media? Oh, sorry, ma'am.
Sorry, this is Take My TV.
Checkmate. All right.
You mentioned that women are being used in political interest, and then he then said, no, you are defending the fact that women are being used. Are the two of you just not being contradictory to each other? Because if you're saying women are being used and he's defending women, what then are both of you saying? Are you implying that the women were not abused, and then he's saying no, they were abused? What are you saying as a party? And at the same time, why would you be worried about rivalry women? Thank you.
Why worry about rival women?
Yeah.
Meaning, why worry about women from the MDC Alliance?
If you're saying that these women are being used, why are you then worried about them?
All right. Question number 4.
You, 263 Judge. You
Okay.
alluded to a court challenge by the MDC Alliance.
Yeah.
Are you avoiding the by-elections because of COVID? And if so, is it not? Are you not considering that it will expose you to defeats should by-elections be held?
Okay. Number 5.
Mr. Kugen, you alluded to the Congress, the extraordinary Congress being held between the 4th and the 6th of September, if I'm not mistaken. My understanding of the constitution of the MDC is that when an extraordinary Congress is to be held, there is only one agenda item. So why would you need 3 days for an extraordinary Congress? For an exercise that can be done in 30 minutes.
All right. Okay. I will start by addressing the daily. Of course, I'm going to leave some for my comrade Dr. Machagada. I'm going to start with daily news on his complaint. My complaint wasn't that you said Congress was quote-unquote postponed. I can have a technical argument over that because we never issued a date out there. But my complaint was, it's not Dr. Coupe who postponed if there was a postponement. I'm saying it's the MDC-T. That was my issue with you, because I have the voice notes of our exchange. I never said Dr. Coupe postponed anything, but that was the issue. Otherwise, your substantive question, what was the question, by the way?
About the parliamentary caucus.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, I've got it here. Right, the parliamentary caucus, we had 30 plus MPs. I'm not sure if I can give you the names. I left their register upstairs, but I can give you a video. I had them here. Let's talk. I'll give you the video. You'll see for yourself. It was an awesome caucus. I'm sorry that you missed it, but I hope the video will suffice. Now, the question is, why worry about that's from Hlanga now. You're saying, am I lowering women when I'm saying they are being used? And then you're saying, you misunderstand me when you're saying, I'm saying they are favored, MTCA is favored, that because BT was given bail, and then you insert the Minister of Health. I didn't even speak about him. Let us be clear, that was you bringing him and making a comparison, which I didn't do. But let me tell you what I meant when I brought in Honorable Pete. I was saying to the legal system, I was saying, Honorable Pete is a vice president of these young ladies. And I was saying, they are denied bail. And if you have to deny somebody bail, that person must pose a serious threat, either not to appear, you see, or basically to leave the country. They are flight risk. And I'm saying, if you look at Honorable Mamombe and Honorable Pete, who can pose a flight risk there? So I'm saying, if Honorable Pete can be given bail, surely Honorable Mamombe and the other two can be given bail. That's the point I'm making. And I'm saying, I do not know the circumstances. I was careful to say this. I do not know the circumstances beyond their denial of bail. And I'm saying the system must be sympathetic to appreciate that these are young ladies. They're in the youth assembly, remember. They're in the youth assembly, and we know that youths are impressionable. And in politics, youths are used for all sorts of things. We know that. And I'm simply saying the legal system must be careful in dealing with these young people. They are young. If there are mistakes that were made, we need to appreciate that. That's all I'm saying there. I know nothing about the minister and the conditions of his bail. I really know nothing. And I think I've already attended to the issue of lowering women. I'm not all lowering them. I'm making that comment because we know they are all from the youth assembly. And we know that youth are impressionable, and I'm really requesting that as we deal with them, we must... I'm basically making an appeal for their release. That's what I'm doing here. I'm making an appeal to say, keep them out until you take them before a competent court of law. There is no reason during this winter season why those three ladies must be incarcerated. There's no reason. I'm saying treat them like you treat Honorable Pete. That's the point that I'm making. And then my sister here says, why are you worried about rival women? Those are not rival women. Those are my comrades. We may hold different political views with Honorable Mamombe and the other. Well, the other two I don't have a close relationship with, but of course Mamombe, because she's from the MDC-T ticket. I know her very closely. We've worked together from the 2014 Congress, and so they are not rival. But even if they were rival, they are also Zimbabweans. The point I'm making here is we've got one constitution, we've got one Bill of Rights. So the way how you treat someone from ZANU-PF, MDC-T, you must treat also MDC-A people in the same manner. That's the point that I'm making. So no, there is no rival women there. They are Zimbabweans. 263 chat. Court challenge. Are we scared? No, we're not scared at all. The irony, if you are following events, the irony is that the MDCA is the one that said they will clap us come by-elections. That's what they said. They said, recall our people, we will show you flames in the by-elections. But here they are, saying we don't want by-elections. What is it that they want? They must pick a lane. You want by-elections? Bring it on. What we are not going to allow is a situation where you go out there and say these people are ZANU, they are recalling people, we are going to beat them in by-elections, and then you go and make sure that those by-elections don't happen. Let them happen, and let's meet in the trenches, and let's see what will happen. Honorable Machagata, you will speak even on the things that I've spoken to. Why 3 days extraordinary Congress? Day number 1 is the arrival. Day number 2 is actually the business, the extraordinary Congress. Day number 3, people are going back. I hope I've answered you. Honorable Machagata.
I think you've answered the questions. You can take a second round.
Okay. Second round, so please direct them to Honorable Machagata. He's here to assist me and hold my hand. If they all come to me, I'm going to be in trouble with Honorable Machagata. He won't come next time. Yes, my brother.
So my first question will go direct to Honorable Machagata. My name is Tony, I'm with TechMake TV. Honorable Machagata, if I need to understand, confirm you are a member of parliament that has been selected under the MDC Alliance ticket representing Hatfield. How do you feel as a member of parliament now, representing a rival party that you contested against, and these guys, they lost against you, and the people in favor in you, and they voted out the MDC-T, putting you. How does that make you feel as a member of the same constituency now crossing the floors? The second question I'll direct to you, you spoke of a matter that is technically sub judice before the court of law, where you are pleading before the High Court to make a certain judgment that is within your favor, which I consider to be sub judice. But I need to just understand, how does it make you feel, because you've already led the way, the court has heard the case about the Harvest House occupation. I understand this matter is still before the court of law as well. This was heard on last week Saturday, and the judge is yet to make a ruling, and you are still enjoying the benefits of the same court proceeding. How does this make you feel when the judge has chosen not to make a pronouncement after the hearing has been finalized last week Saturday? Those are my 2 questions.
All right, thank you. I just need clarity. I'm not answering now, but I need clarity.
Okay.
What is it that I appeal to the High Court to rule in our favor?
No, you appealed. You made an appeal. You made a statement over the girls, which I understand is a matter before the courts. So now that you're speaking about a matter before the courts, you allow me to also wade into a matter that is also before the courts. How does it make you feel when you are beneficiary of Harvest House, and the matter is still before the courts, and the High Court Justice has already had this court, but has not yet made a judgment 2 weeks after? How does that make you feel?
All right. I'm Hlangamana Ngane. Any other new hands before I got to him? Yes, sir.
Yasha Zashino from
Nehand. Okay.
So I understand that Tokozan Kupe is trying to form an alliance with smaller parties that will refuse national Chamisas. Now,
Projection.
Yeah, we can say.
Projection. Yeah, and
So-
these things will not come out on YouTube.
Okay. I understand Dr. Tukuzani Kupe is trying to form an alliance with some smaller parties that were once fused with the MDC Alliance. For example, Transform Zimbabwe. But then there are media reports that Transform Zimbabwe in particular is actually snapped a request. How true is this?
Okay. Third question from a new hand. Mhlanga, I will come to you. Any other new hand? No more new hand? All right, Mhlanga.
Yes. The first one is not a question, but it's just a bit of a lesson. When a newspaper writes Kupe postpones Congress, it's because Kupe is the leader of the MDC. So you don't write MDC-T postpones Congress. Because at the end of the day, the buck stops with the president. So I just wanted you to understand that. Then, Honorable Mashaka, is the era of the Gata Press, given that you said that Gata Press is trying to sell your image, and the story that you talk about, I say published in the era. So are you on record in this press conference saying that the herald is Gata Press? I also want to find out from the MDC-T. This is like your third press conference. And in all your press conferences, the MDC Alliance has been the major issue. You didn't answer that question. I gave you that question before.
What is the question?
Is your business of the MDC-T to deal with the MDC Alliance? I say this because there's a trend. Your first press conference, your second press conference, and now the major issue is to discuss the MDC Alliance. That is the major. So I want to find out, are you primarily established to fight the MDC Alliance?
Doc, shoot, and then I'll take those that you didn't take.
Thank you very much. The first question relates to the people of Hatfield who voted me into parliament. We all know that we had an alliance, which was an election pact of 7 parties. And the major party in that alliance was MDC-T. That is the circumstances under which that election pact was constructed, and I was there as the MDC-T component of that election pact. So my occupying a seat in that house is consistent with that election pact, which produced me as a representative fielded by an election pact where MDC-T was the major component of that election pact. And for your information, when the decision to disengage Parliament was done, I made my consultation with the structures and the voters who voted me, and they said, we voted you to represent us in Parliament, not to stay out of Parliament. So I am not offside, I'm not in the wrong place by being in Parliament. I'm discharging the mandate and responsibilities that were imposed on me by the people of Hatfield. So there's no contradiction there. The second question of us being here at Harvest House, I think I need to explain a little bit. Harvest House was bought by MDC-T. We bought Harvest House during the early stages of our formation, and the property is being held in trust by the trustees. If you are a trustee, you are not the owner of the property. You are holding it in trust. It means there's a beneficiary of your trusteeship. And it has always been clear that the beneficiary is MDC-T. And the terms of that trustee agreement or trust agreement are very clear that the beneficiary is the MDC-T. That's why we are here, as the beneficiary of that trustship or trustee arrangement. The question of Dr. Kupe wishing to join hands with other political parties is neither here nor there. That's how it should be. Opposition forces or pro-democratic forces in Zimbabwe must unite to dislodge ZANU-PF. That's why we had the alliance in 2018. Let us all unite and not divide ourselves or be divided by anybody else. So that's the right attitude, that's the right move. We must unite all pro-democratic forces with civil society, with labor, with churches, with everybody. Let us unite, join hands to remove ZANU-PF. That's how it should be. But you cannot determine who will take that route or who will accept that request. People have got their own assessment and judgments. If a political party decides not to want to join us, and say, was Transform said, we don't want to join, therefore it's a bad idea. It doesn't necessarily follow the forces to fight. Is the Herald a gutter press? My definition of a gutter press or a gutter media is a media which publishes a story without checking with the subject of that story. If you don't check with me before you publish the story, that's gutter journalism. You must check the facts before you publish your story. And any media which publishes stories without checking with the sources, that's gutter journalism. And so it doesn't apply to the Herald per se as such. To the extent that facts are not verified, interviews are not done, and you just choose to put words in my mouth, that's gutter press, that's gutter journalism. And that's the context in which I attack the Herald story. Fighting the MDC Alliance, we will never fight the MDC Alliance, and this press conference has never been about the MDC Alliance. If you listen to the issues raised by my brother Pugen, they had nothing to do with the MDC Alliance. It was informational, giving you where we are, what are the issues in our party MDC-T. It never made MDC Alliance the subject. The only point where MDC Alliance was roped in was when he was urging for the release from custody of Joanna Mamombe and the two girls. And that's how it should be. Why should people's rights be deprived? We're actually fighting for justice, for fairness, and so on and so forth. So I don't interpret our press conference as attacking the MDC Alliance. The MDC Alliance is not the subject of our focus. The subject of our focus is how to deliver the people from the jaws of ZANU-PF, how to deliver the economy from the political quagmire in which it has been put by a clueless ZANU-PF. That is our focus. And whoever is going to fight in that corner, we can join hands to make sure that ZANU-PF becomes history. The people of Zimbabwe have suffered for a long time, and there's no need for the opposition to fight among ourselves. We must confront the enemy, and the enemy is ZANU-PF. I thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Nehanda, is he still here or he's gone? Yeah, because I wanted to ask him, in view of the lesson that I got from my brother Mhlanga, if he's using Dr. Kupe and MDC-T interchangeable, because he said Dr. Kupe is meeting the smaller. Maybe just to add on what the doc said, we met as a party with about 5 of the parties who make up the MDC Alliance PEC, you know, because the MDC Alliance is not yeah, you PEC, all right. I wanted to find out, when you are saying Dr. Kupe is initiating an alliance with smaller parties, are you using Dr. Kupe and the party interchangeable, or what's happening?
Yeah, according to the reports, like, did you see a story in the newspaper?
No, but so just on this one, when you're saying Dr. Kupe, are you referring to her as a person, or you're referring to the party?
I'm referring to her as the leader of the MDC.
Oh, so you're referring to the party. Okay. All right. Okay. We did meet with with our alliance partners, because remember the MDC-T is a major player in the alliance. And here I make a distinction between the MDC Alliance. We are going to claim our rights to the name. They are really infringing on our name as MDC Alliance. There's no MDC Alliance party. So it must come to you as it's polygamous, indeed it so happens. Marriage has decided to walk out of the marriage. It does happen. So no, there is nothing to be alarmed of. I'll do a disservice if I don't attend to your question. If you are fair, and I have no reason to doubt that you are fair, you know that it's the MDC Alliance instead that has made their press conferences about us. We are labeled ZANU projects. This, in fact, the words you used might have as well come from their information desk. The words you used. Now, when did Mama Chagata become a ZANU person? When did you become that Mama Chagata? I think it happened now when you started disagreeing with them, right? But all along, and I want to tell you something which you don't know. This man, and he doesn't know that I know this, he was part of Chamisa's secret team that was doing his internal politics in the MDC. I think they met every Tuesday or so, according to the information I have. But he was the henchman in that team. Now, all of a sudden, because he has decided principle, you know, he has decided to say, no, enough of this expedience, I now want to stand on principle. Well, it turns out he's a ZANU person. And no, I'll come to you. And I can trace back for you everyone who has been accused to be ZANU. Dr. Cooper, you will see the video. She succinctly told us how this party was formed and mentioned people who were involved in forming this party, including Mama Chagada herself, Timanikire, SG Tagi, you know, all those people who were with the ZCTU. Yes, I see. Because people don't know that Tagi was with ZCTU. So, it turns out that Dr. Cooper became the vice president after Professor Ncube left in 2005. Dr. Cooper becomes the vice president. She runs this party together with the other leadership to a historical win in 2008. We beat ZANU in the parliamentary elections. We beat them in the presidency also. The whole world knows that. Now, all these leaders were involved. Engineer Mutsuri was the organizing secretary. Vakomich, deputy organizing secretary. President Tsvangirai, deputy president Coup. Mama Chagata was also there. But all of a sudden, when we now start to differ, when did these people become ZANU? They became ZANU the day President Tsvangirai passed away. And Dr. Cooper said, no, I will not accept to be relegated to the back seat. Constitutionally, it's me who got this mandate from Congress to succeed Dr. Tsvangirai. The moment she stood for her rights, she became ZANU. She became ZANU. We did not hear Bamonzora said to be ZANU. We did not hear Mama Chagata said to be ZANU. We did not hear Bakomiji said to be ZANU. Until the Supreme Court judgment happened. And then Wara, Bakomiji is ZANU, Bamonzora is ZANU. Right? He is not ZANU at that time. I hope you are following. At that time, he's pristine. You see, we are ZANU, he's not. Until he wakes up one morning, he reads the Supreme Court judgment. He looks at what Chamisa and everyone else is doing. He says, no, man, you guys are bungling this whole thing. This is not how you must handle this whole thing. Guess what? Mama Chagata is ZANU. And you know what it is to be ZANU? He took somebody's wife. Now, even their narrative is so confused. I don't know why people are running for it. Right? So now they are ZANU. And every time they do their press conferences, we're with ED, we're a project to destroy them, and. Now, it will be amiss of us, knowing what we know, and you guys know what happened last week here. They attacked us last week on Thursday here. So if we know of any pending attacks, it is our duty to communicate with the public. We're not communicating with you only, by the way. We're communicating with the public via you. So we're letting the public know that those ones of violence they are coming for more blood. So we have to speak about that. We must let the public know, because their modus operandi is to do, oh, by the way, you know that this past weekend they attacked our Harare organizing secretary his home. They attacked it. They broke windows, they threw stones. It was bad, the MDC Alliance. So if Bamhlanga expects me not to tell the public about that, then I don't understand what type of politics we're doing. We are here to inform the public. We will never use violence. Violence is not part of our arsenal in terms of winning hearts and minds. And I must say this, as I'm coming to the end of this, before I recognize you and you. I must say this. This is my promise to you as the media, and I can make it on his behalf as well. We will never misinform you. We'll never do that. Not from this podium. I promise you, seated here, as long as I hold this position, the information coming from my office and from this desk will be honest and truthful. So help me God. So we will never try and mislead you. We'll never try and misinform you. We'll never do propaganda. If people want to do propaganda in this party, they'll have to do it clandestine or outside in their own endeavors. But this office will not be used for propaganda. We'll never do propaganda. So you wanted to do a follow-up on Mama Chagada?
Yes. Honorable Mashagada, I wanted to just clarify two issues that you did not answer on my question. The first issue, you said you contested as an MDC-T under the alliance. Was there no other contestant from the MDC-T that you contested and you wanted to beat during the election? And if that person was there, which MDC-T was the person that you contested? Because I understand surely there was an MDC-T candidate that you were contesting against. You also say that you bought this building, Harvest House. I need to understand, when you say MDC-T bought the Harvest House, is that technically correct? Or it was the MDC that bought the Harvest House? You are nothing but just a faction of the MDC-T and the MDC Alliance. Who then bought? Can you rightly say MDC-T bought, or it was the MDC that bought this building? The first question I asked you, you didn't answer it. You answered it differently altogether. I said Justice Mangota he had the court case about the building, and this was done last week, Saturday, not this week. Last week, but one Saturday, so to say. And he's yet to make a declaration. I just wanted to understand your feeling. How do you feel about a High Court judge who has already finalized hearing the case and is yet to make a decision, yet he has actually pronounced 2 other cases after hearing your case? How does that make you feel over the same issue? That was my question to you.
Okay, my sister.
Maybe just to follow
This
up
is the
on-
last round, by the way, guys. We need to go back. The meeting is going on.
Maybe to follow up on what he's saying, Honorable Mashakada said he contested as an MDC-8 candidate. Like he just said, obviously there must have been an MDC-T. I don't understand why he then said I contested as an MDC-A, although I was MDC-T. Can you just clarify on that part? And then the other part, I wanted to find out if indeed this is my phone, why do I have, and I have evidence that this is my phone, why is it that the matter is taking time to actually get to a verdict of the Harvest House? If he's saying you bought it, obviously you have paperwork to just go and present to the court. Why is it then taking time to have a verdict?
All right. Yes,
I just wanted to follow up and say that you pledged sitting just there that you will not lie to us. But I do not want to use the word lie. But Dr. Mashagada gave us misinformation. He said that this press conference was never about the MDC Alliance. But when we started, he said the MDC Alliance is planning to attack us, the MDC Alliance is doing this, the MDC Alliance is doing this. In the same press conference, the other person says, no, we are not talking about the MDC Alliance. Is that not misleading us while we are standing in front of you right now? I think that was a dishonest response. The response that you gave, I understood it. But the response that was given by Mashakada was honestly dishonest. You are speaking about the MDC Alliance, and you justify it for the reasons that you have done. So I think it is only prudent, if you are going to gain the respect of us, the media, to tell the truth, like you have pledged. Please kindly tell the truth.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So my question, my question would be, Mashakada is an economist. Right? So for instance, I'll just give you an example. Newsday is owned by Alpha Media Holding. Say Newsday is the biggest shareholder of Alpha Media Holding. I borrow money from Alpha Media Holding, but Newsday is the biggest shareholder. Who comes to collect that money? Does the Newsday come to me and say, you got money from AMH, so I've come to collect my money because I'm the biggest shareholder? Or the Newsday will go to AMH and say, can you please get our money from this person? Because directly, the MDC Alliance is the one that dealt with the elections and the public. When the people went to vote, they voted for MDC Alliance, not MDC-T, as you want to put it. And the number of votes that you got is because of the 7 other people who were supporting you in your election party. So what kind of a husband are you? Because you said you're in a marriage. What kind of a husband are you? After all your wives have helped you to a harvest, you then come and say, because I'm the major holder, I'm taking all the food. I am trying to give you in simplicity terms. What kind of a husband are you in that marriage?
Last one.
Last one.
Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to say it doesn't take 2 days to join Zambia. We were asking when did he pick up it doesn't take 2 days.
Thank you.
Are you journalist or you're activist?
They are both. Can I answer?
Why did you say that?
Thank you, media, for the questions. If a person wants to join ZANU-PF, it is his democratic right. There shouldn't be any question about it. If I want to join ZANU-PF today, I can join ZANU-PF. The truth of the matter is that I am not ZANU-PF. Okay? So, this kind of speculation and mudslinging should stop, because we don't want to put words in people's mouths. I formed this party in 1999 with Morgan Tsvangirai, and I'm prepared to fight to advance the legacy of Morgan Tsvangirai and protect the legacy of Morgan Tsvangirai. I've been arrested by ZANU-PF, I've been harassed by ZANU-PF, and I've been consistent in attacking their economic policies and failures, and I'll continue to do that. Now, coming to the issue of Hatfield, when I contested in Hatfield, there were 15 independents. I didn't contest against an MDC-T candidate. I had 15 independents. So for someone to say that, but you contested MDC-T, I don't know who stood for MDC-T, because I had 15 independents and I won. The alliance was an election pact. That's why in one of the clauses, it's very clear that each party will control its own MPs. That's why we are not able to recall the PDP component with the alliance. We can't recall BT and the PDP component. We cannot recall the MDC component in the alliance. We can only recall our own MPs. So we must understand that it was an election pact. And the biggest party in that election pact was the MDC-T. Now the question of why should the courts not declare you the owners of Harvest House? We don't control the court processes. We don't control the judges. We don't control the speed of litigation. Let the courts take their due processes, and we are waiting for the verdict. We don't interfere with the operation of the judiciary. Who are we to speed them up and say, please just rule, because we are the owners? The judgment will come. Let us be patient. It will come when it should come, when they are ready. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Doc. Mhlanga, I need to defend Dr. Machagada. He understood the substance of your question to say the presser was about MDCA, and he was pushing back on that. He was telling me that the presser was not about MDCA, and you are wrong to say I started with the MDCA. I started by giving you the dates of the Extraordinary Congress, and I went at length explaining to you on the Extraordinary Congress. Now, he is correct when he says, I then spoke about MDCA on behalf of the young ladies. And of course, I couldn't miss the information, as I've already told you. We needed to tell you what we hear is going to happen. Because we are experiencing attacks every single day. And we know where the attacks are coming from. So if we don't tell you, again tomorrow you'll accuse us of fabricating information. So no, he is correct. The substance or the reason for this presser was about the Extraordinary Congress. And we did give you that fact. So the doctor is correct. I want to come to your question and bring it together with my sister here. You see, the mistake that the media keeps doing is not going to the judgment, in my view, respectfully. It's not going to the judgment, but reading running commentary about from the Alliance about the judgment. Now, if you go to that judgment, you will appreciate that two things happened there. There is an extraordinary Congress which took place in Bulawayo in 2018. The judgment said, in law, that extraordinary Congress was null and void. Right? Remember, that's the same extraordinary Congress which produced the MDC-T, which you are now using it interchangeable with the MDC-T which is referring to. And I'm going to get to this in a moment. So the judgment said, there is no MDC-T emanating from the Bulawayo Congress in 2018. Which MDC-T I ran under, by the way. And then the court went also to say, the Congress which happened in Gweru in 2019 is also null and void. So basically what the court said, after the demise of Dr. Tsvangirai, two factions emerged. One faction organized itself in Bulawayo. The other faction organized itself in Gweru. I am then, therefore, as the court, collapsing these two factions back to the MDC-T. What is the effect of that judgment? And I think that is the most important. Maybe that's the crust of the whole thing. The effect of that judgment is that he did not have a challenger from MDC-T, because the judgment has collapsed that. Neither did he run, as the way you would believe, against an MDC-T under an MDC Alliance as the one organized at Gweru. That's what the court said. So the court said, we recognize you as one family. Go back and follow your constitution. And that's why we're here. Now, there's a seminal case in England. If I knew this question was going to come, because I thought we dealt with it last week comprehensively. If I knew it was going to come, I was going to give you a quotation of the case, which I'm going to give you next time we're here. The seminal case goes like this. There is a young man who killed his mother, right? And then the law at the time said, if someone dies without a will, the surviving, whether spouse or child or whatever of that person, inherits everything. That was the law. But when the courts looked at that, they said no. When the law was crafted, it did not mean to make someone benefit out of his own crime, because it will make the law absurd. So they overturned that, and he did not inherit of his own crime. So you guys are sitting here. The courts have ruled that what happened with that alliance was wrong and ultra-virus, and it should not have happened. But you are insisting that the alliance must benefit from the wrong which they did. And the law is saying no. And I'm appealing to you to move on from that position and accept that the MDC-T or the MDC has been ordered to go back to its constitution and follow its constitution. Now, you may want to be technical and say MDC, MDC-T. The truth of the matter is that in 2005 there was a breakup in the party. Professor Ncube went away and we remained, and then we did put that -T to identify with Morgan Tsvangirai as our leader, as the MDC led by President Tsvangirai, which is the one that owns this place. And if there's anyone who should know better, it's him. He really should know better who owns this building. That the courts are taking time he has already answered it. We have no control over that. We wish they could speed up the process. How do we feel being here? I'm sure we feel as much as you feel when you're in your house. This is our house, man. Come on, this is our house. So we're happy that the house that is now named after his father, you can see how free he is. Now, ask Bama Chagada, they will tell you that in the alliance, if you were 2 minutes late, you needed to come and kneel to Chamisa and apologize. Kneel. Oh, no, you guys are not reacting in the manner you should. Kneel.
The journalists, we don't react.
Yeah, but you react with us. We say something, you tell us, no, you can join Zan anytime. So it's straight. But anyway, it's fine. So I'm simply saying, here he is now at home, to your question. He is at home, he's relaxed, she's at home, you see all our comrades, all of this, they are enjoying, we are free. And let me tell you why we're there. It's because we know the judgment. How do we know the judgment? Because of what he has just said. This is our place. This is our home.
You know,
and
the
we
judgment
will not
that is
allow any... Excuse me?
Which judgment do you know? I just want to be clear so that we don't...
No, he said
You
to
said we know the judgment. The one
Yeah.
that is yet to be delivered, or which judgment?
Yeah, he said to us, you are seated here, the judgment is yet to come. How do you feel?
And you know
And
the
I'm
judgment.
saying we can relax because he knows that we bought this place. And he has that.
But you're keeping the MPs that were done by the MDC Alliance. Why don't you just recall all of them?
They were not done by MDC Alliance. That's why you are wrong.
You said everything that happened after Morgan Changra is dead.
No.
And this is the election of the MDC Alliance MPs was spearheaded with Chamisa being the leader. And as you say, I don't know whether it's right or wrong, that Rama Shakada was the team leader of that particular leading of the MDC Alliance. So my question was that, so what happened is been collapsed to before the death of Changra, but the MPs and the senators remain. That's all I want to clarify.
Okay. You are conflicting issues. Now, I'm saying to you, the MDC-T went into an election pack with other 7 or 6 parties. We went into an electric pack that came as MDC Alliance. And in that alliance, Bama Chagata are telling you that he contested under the MDC-T ticket. And that is exactly what is happening. Hence, I say to you, that name MDC Alliance, which they are now saying MDC Alliance Party, is an infringement of our name. And we will deal with that at some stage. So no, there is nothing that we are saying, we want to keep this, we want to destroy that. By the way, we wish that our Eastwell friends would come home and we all enjoy defending the vision and the legacy of our late leader, Tsvangirai. Yeah, we're done. Yeah.
So, if I may understand, so why are you keeping the other MDC Alliance MPs? Why are you not recalling all of them? Why are you doing half by half? And what methodology are you now using? Since you've said that they don't represent you, why are you keeping them in parliament if they don't represent you?
Okay. I think we said we're closing, so I'm not sure if your question refers to... Yeah, I think I'll do a side with you. But maybe because you've already asked and others have heard. All the MDC Alliance MPs which belong under the MDC-T banner, they're under jurisdiction, and we will deal with them in a manner that is beneficiary to the party. But
that's
the rest...
Which manner are you using? Because we've seen some have been moved, some are still there. What methodology
All
are
right,
you using?
we will do a side, a one-on-one. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We will meet next time again. We will let you know if we have something to communicate with you. Thank you.
Thank you.